Good morning, Metalheads here, and welcome to a new episode of the Metal Meltdown. And today we're looking at the latest album from Alter Bridge, entitled Walk the Sky. Alter Bridge, an American alternative metal band that's been kicking ass, taking names, and topping the charts for quite a few years now. Their style, to be honest, is something pretty complex and extraordinarily passionate, particularly when compared to the rest of mainstream heavy metal, with influences pulling from progressive metal, with influences pulling from post-grunge, with influences pulling from contemporary rock, from adult contemporary music, from 80s metal, even a little bit of thrash from time to time, all reinforced by a man who I would honestly at this point consider to be one of the greatest rock singers of this generation, Mr. Miles Kennedy, who some of you may also know for his work with the Guns N' Roses guitarist Slash. And now mind you, as much as I appreciate and enjoy Alter Bridge, I'll be the first to admit that their last two albums I have not particularly enjoyed. I mean, they're definitely still very well made, and they're definitely a lot more passionate and inspired than 99% of all mainstream rock out there. But the songwriting was really simplistic, and it just lacked the heart and soul of previous records like AB3, which in my opinion still stands as the band's strongest album. But I will say that after spending some time with Walk the Sky, that this does maybe come close. I mean, everything that I've enjoyed about Alter Bridge, everything that has made them successful, has made them who they are, still remains. But this feels way bigger than any other Alter Bridge album in terms of its size and scale and production value. It's their most personal, honest, dare I say even most spiritual release since AB3. In fact, in its highest moments, it reaches the size and scope and scale of gospel music or even a lot of Christian pop and rock, resulting in an album that combines some of Alter Bridge's best melodies, lyrics, and compositions alongside a surprisingly ambitious and cinematic presentation. And this is all felt pretty much immediately on the album. Take, for instance, the semi-ballad One Life, which starts off relatively soft-spoken and soft-sung before melting away into choirs and orchestrations and some dark underlying guitar passages that strum up to the surface, paving the way wonderfully for Wouldn't You Rather, a song that combines genuine emotional catharsis with some of the band's darkest, grimiest riffs in some time. It's got some legitimately fist-bumping and arena-shaking grooves, highlighted even further by Mark Tremonti having a fucking blast channeling a little bit of early 90s Kirk Hammett into his moody mainstream alt-metal mixture. From here on, a formula is pretty much settled upon by the band. They don't tend to stray too far outside of this formula, with the one dividing factor being that a good portion of the songs either fall into being more melody-focused, while another good portion of the songs fall into being more metal-oriented. The latter tracks rank personally as some of my favorites. Take, for instance, Falling Forever, which combines the ferocity of 90s Soundgarden and Metallica into a weirdly eerie and enthusiastic riff fest. Or another great example, a track like Take the Crown, which just packs huge, thick walls of dark metallic grooves. Unrelenting, unstoppable, and highlighted by a still pretty enthusiastic hook that creates this really great contrast. As far as the melodic stuff is concerned, this is where I think the band dips their toes into more simplistic kinds of songwriting. Take, for instance, on the track Dying Light. But this track still has one of the biggest choruses that Alter Bridge have ever used on any one of their songs. And other songs in this former category still benefit from some really interesting compositions. Take, for instance, In the Deep, a very moody but also genuinely sweet cut. Or for that matter, a track like Walking on the Sky, which feels like a power ballad in the vein of what we expect from edgier mainstream rock bands like Hinder, for instance, but channeled through the darkest passages of progressive metal. The band has notably put a lot of time and effort into figuring out how to create the most cathartic experience for all kinds of listeners, for people who prefer poppier, more simplistic music, for people who prefer heavier, more raucous material, and for people who do want some kind of legitimate middle ground. Like, even in its most melodic moments, I can picture the average metalhead still having a genuinely good time. And even in its heaviest moments, I can picture the most average music listener in general still finding a lot to take out of the lyrics, out of the performances, and out of the eventual catharsis found within all of the melodies. And speaking of, Myles Kennedy, maybe some of the best vocal performances of his career on this record. Mark Tremonti, some of the best guitar performances of his career on this record. The entire band, for that matter. Some of the best performances of their career on this record. And mad fucking props to the producer as well, Michael Baskette. His sound mix is crisp, it's organic, it's honest, it's humble, it's dirty, but still extraordinarily well polished. Michael's ability to combine this catchy alternative hard rock fusion with gospel grandeur and dirty ass 90s dark metal energy is fucking incredible. And I'm happy to see that this is a sound he as well has evolved since his earliest days working with Alter Bridge. In fact, as far as I can tell, he's been working with all of these guys on tons of records, not just with Alter Bridge, but in their side projects. Take, for instance, Tremonti's solo records, or the records that Myles Kennedy has done with Slash. It's clear that in that time he has gotten to know these guys, he's gotten to know what they want, and with this record he has achieved the most powerful vision that the band has ever had. I mean, I have trouble picturing Alter Bridge moving forward without this man. He is the fifth member of their band at this point, an essential element, and fucking bravo, Michael. I'm going with a 4 out of 5 on this. I cannot believe how fucking fantastic this record is from start to finish. How dark it can still be without losing the melody. How catchy it can be without losing the heart and soul. How it can be all of these things and so many other things all at the same time without compromising any one sound or element. Do some songs still rely on some very basic songwriting skeletons? Yes, that's not unfair to say, but everything that's built up on top of them, the progressive metal flourishes, the post-grunge energies, the dark metal energies, the riffs, the attitude, the gospel-like grandeur, size, and scale, that is remarkable, and that detracts from any of these songs being dismissed as simplistic cookie-cutter mainstream rock numbers. To the point where I'd say that anyone daring to think that has simply not spent enough time sitting down with this record. Fans of the band's previous work are no doubt going to love this. I think that some of you will even go as far as to say this is their best album yet. I think that if you're someone brand new to a lot of heavy metal and hard rock, this is a great record to check out. It's generally a great record for all kinds of metalheads, excluding obviously the metal elitists, but, you know, fuck them. And for the first time since AB3, I'm actually genuinely excited to stay in touch with this band and see how they continue to evolve from here on out. 4 out of 5, seriously great record, maybe their best yet, or at least as good as AB3. Definitely fucking check this goddamn thing out. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be, so what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown fucking immediately. And you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.